Hello, happy Sun Day. And on this Sun Day, I want to give you a little bit of information. When you read the Bible, you have people who ask questions about some of the timelines in the Bible. And that's because they are taking the Bible as a literal interpretation. Let me give you some of the figurative things that are in the Bible. Starting with Jesus, you see the birth of Jesus. You see Jesus appearing at 12. Then you see Jesus again at 30. And then you see the last thing about Jesus at 33. And let's take this from the standpoint of Jesus in the astrological sense. In the beginning, you have the birth, which is the sun starting light, right? Light comes into the world. That's the sun. Okay. And then at 12, you see Jesus appear. And at 12, that's when the sun is at noon. The sun is at its highest point in the sky, technically. We know it varies a little bit from the scientific standpoint. But the sun is shining the brightest, right? So you get that at 12, the number 3, communications, conscious awareness begins. It's bright, it's there. And then at 30, one, talk about the different 30 degrees, that's one thing. However, that is also the Saturn returns. That means you've completed a cycle and you're now ready to start something new. And then 33, which is a master number, that's the time of death. But 33 is comprised of 2 threes, which is the first arm of death. And then the 3 and 3 is the 6, which is the second arm of death, right? But that is also a zenith in time with your degrees of 29 minutes, 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 30 seconds. That 33 becomes very significant because it is a transition point. Now, there's a lot of times when 33 shows up, and we'll get into that in another conversation. But I want to get back to the 12. The 12 showing up is a 1 and a 2, meaning 2 parts are together. The 1, the individual self, and then the partnership working with other people to start the communication and the teaching, and hobbies and passions come up. And within each person around the age of 12, you start to see individualization as to who they're going to be later on. That starts to show more, right? Just like at a person who's a little baby when they're 3, you start to see that their conversation, their talking, their speech becomes one of conscious thinking about what they're saying versus when they're 18 months and they stop talking, it's just yes, no. But at 3, you can definitely tell they're forming sentences and they want to communicate effectively, which is the 3 energy associated with the 12, communicating effectively. But back to the reason the 12 was, from an astrology standpoint, the 12, if we look at Jesus representing the sun in the mystic part of things, noon, brightest time of day, get things done, activity levels are good, high, you're alert, you're able to communicate effectively unless you've eaten the wrong food, right? If you look at this story of Jesus and look at the numbers and the time associated with it, you can start to see that some of that stuff has a deeper meaning than a person showing up, is born, does some work, dies, resurrected or not, depending on who you talk to, and leave a message, right? Um, there's always more meaning to things, and I would challenge you to look for deeper meanings in whatever you're reading and how it can apply to you in your life.